Francine Andrea is Vice President of Administration, Enrollment and Planning at Felician College. How you doing?
Fine, good to be here.
Felician College is in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Absolutely.
Describe the school a little bit.
It's a small, private Catholic college that admits all students and provides personalized one-on-one teaching and support services so our students can succeed.
Let's talk about the fact that the reason we have you here is because the whole question of ROI, return on investment. There's some people who question whether in this day and age it's really worth it, given what it costs to go to college, to spend that money to incur some of those bills and ultimately have that debt for many. You say?
Education is the primary opportunity for everyone. So when you look at cost, you have to understand what the components of that are. For a student who has a high school diploma versus a student who receives a baccalaureate degree, the difference in income in your lifetime is over $1 million.
Well, back up. You go to college, you don't go to college. $1 million difference?
$1 million difference. The issue is what your opportunities are, not just the day you leave and start your first job, but the other opportunities you have in the rest of your life. So you have to look at factors that will help you understand why it is so important and that investment is so important.
Do you wind up having these conversations with students and parents?
Absolutely. With parents and students, we talk about the importance of looking at all those factors. So for example, at Felician, we look at students from a merit aid perspective to help support them when they go to school. And actually, Money Magazine picked us out as one of the top 25 merit aid institutions in the country.
What does that mean, merit aid?
Scholarship money that we provide to students. So it's an affordability issue, because that is always a concern of families. But most importantly is actually the academic education you're going to receive. So a family really has to evaluate programs, the student's interest, and the job opportunities that the institutions they're looking at can provide them in the future.
When or how early, what's the appropriate time for a family really should we start thinking about college?
I always recommend that they start thinking about it when they're high school sophomores.
Sophomores?
Most students
Why put the pressure on the kid?
It's not really pressure at that time. It's doing the simple parts of just getting comfortable with the concept of college.
What does that mean?
It means thinking about what classes do you enjoy in high school? Do you like being in a big class? Do you like being in a small class? Do you like learning in a larger environment, but what is the weather where you are thinking about your future? Are you going to like the cold? Are you going to like the hot? It is important because the student's education is the academic and the social realities of that education.
And the economics, we've had this discussion with others because we've done a lot of programs on affordability. It's one thing to talk about merit scholarships, but it's another thing because you can't plan on that, okay? You can hope for it, you can work hard, but you can't guarantee it. So the economics of it, what is it that you say to parents about how to plan for the economics of higher education?
Well, there are many ways a parent can start the process. That's why I recommend the sophomore year, but most do it the junior year. Look at what kind of grants, scholarships, federal and state institutional money may be available to you as you plan for financing an education.
Well, that's at that point, but you should be thinking about it and saving for it well before that.
Absolutely. There are college savings plans. New Jersey has a college savings plan, 529 plan, where you can start saving. Students can actually start thinking about, if I'm working part-time, can I put $10 a week aside to help support the financial situation I know my family will be in? You know, at Felician, we work with a lot of families one-on-one to be able to explain to them what a 4-year expenditure is so that they can understand what process they need to go through. There are monthly payment plans. There are student loans. And though people frown on the idea of taking out a student loan, there are benefits to borrowing. It helps fill a gap after a student would get state, federal, and institutional aid. I mean, at Felician, the average scholarship is $15,000 per student. When you think about that and you look at a student who has need for other sources of funds, you take federal aid, state aid, and then as a last resort, after you give the student college work-study funds to work in between classes on campus, you would offer them a student loan.
After all that?
After all that.
Go to the actual curriculum and the course taking. What about the whole question a student who is trying to figure out his or her major, and they change their major. I know a lot of kids who change their major. You have a problem with that?
Not at all. Actually, about 65% of the national population changes their major at least once while in college. Oh, yes.
Not a problem?
Not a problem. We look at those students at Felician as explorers. Not undecided, as you've historically heard, but explorers. With a liberal arts foundation, these students can take various courses in all areas of study to be able to determine for themselves, and with faculty support, what direction they want to go in obtaining their degree.
You've also talked, you told our producers that it's important to develop a quote-unquote well-rounded student. What does that mean? What's wrong with just, I'm a great student, great grades, leave me alone, not good enough?
Well, the breadth of what a company or corporation or organization, nonprofit, is looking for are students who have a well-rounded background. So those are students who know what it's like to commit to your community, to provide service, to be able to do critical thinking, but be empathetic in the process. So at Felician, we look for students to leave us with competence, character, and compassion. So when they have to make very tough decisions in the boardroom, or in an operation, or at a nonprofit, they have the skill set to do it, and to do it properly.
So it's important they get involved in those kinds of activities?
Absolutely. We have students, for example, who volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club in Lodi, New Jersey. Those students volunteer to workshops with younger students, so they have role models as they look at where the future is going. Our students give back directly to the community, and service is part of our curriculum.
Fran Andrea is Vice President of Administration, Enrollment, and Planning at Felician College. I've talked to your president, Ann Prisco, many times about the mission and the work of Felician. Keep doing what you're doing.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET, NJTV, and WHYY. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, Wells Fargo, PSE&G, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, NJM, New Jersey Sharing Network, and by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.